Hello and welcome to Geeky Bit. Today in tech history, we're going to take a look at a sequel, the Macintosh sequel, or as many know it, the Macintosh II. The Macintosh II was introduced in 1987 and was a jaw-dropping $5,498 US. And with Steve Jobs gone, so were the days of anti-expandability. This Mac had that in spades. The Macintosh II debuted at Apple World in 1987. It was the first modular Macintosh, and this was the next major step in the Mac lineup as well. The Macintosh II could be set up with a maximum of 8 megabytes of RAM or 128 megabytes of RAM. It had a CPU running at a blazing 16 megahertz, and it was 32-bit, sort of. It had floppy support, SCSI support, and even one floppy drive, which was 800K as standard. Now let's take a moment to look at the actual Macintosh II itself. Here we are with the front and back of the Macintosh II. Here we are with the top-down view. Now I'm going to take off the top. That's the reason I have a top-down view. And we are going to look at the inside. So you press these two things in, you tilt up, and then there you go. Now we have the hard drive, the floppies. I've already opened this up, so I've taken out the cables of all, but we're going to take it apart so you can see the motherboard. So first we go ahead and remove this. Again, like I said, I've taken it apart, so there's no screws in any of it. Looks pretty nice. I've cleaned it up as best I can without potentially damaging anything. So this is the cable. These are the batteries that I removed. As you can see here. But that cable I'm holding in my hand goes to the hard drive. So, next, those are the floppy drive connectors, and then in the back we have the SCSI connector. Now, this is the video card right here. I'm not sure if this one works, though. Let me go ahead and remove it. And then that way we can see the motherboard. But see how rusted it is? That's why I don't think it works. But we'll find out. So you can plug into any of these, as these are expansion ports. Now, we're going to go ahead and I think I'm putting this computer back together for you. Now that you've seen everything inside. So we'll start with the video card. Okay, there we go. Alright, we'll get that cable out of the way here. Well, if it'll not fight with me on this. Yeah. We'll put this in while I'm just holding it. So this is the SCSI cable for the hard drive. We'll fold that back that way. And then the black one goes in the upper port. If I can get it in, there we go. We'll just put it over the video card. Then the gray one goes in front of that. And then we'll put it over there. And I believe this has actually had the HD floppy upgrade, which should have upgraded the ROMs too. So this should be able to handle 128 megabytes of RAM. Okay, with all of those cables being held out of the way, we should be able to put this in here and then line it up. There's a couple metal pegs that actually hold it in place for you. And then we'll screw it in place. You don't need to see this, so I will go ahead and skip past this. And here we go. This is everything together, cables and all. Now we'll just put the box, well, the top back on. And we're done. Next, I wanted to show you the Macintosh II in action, but the video card was indeed dead. Luckily, I have several spares. So here we are booted into Mac OS. We go up to the Apple and go to About This Computer. It says Macintosh, because it doesn't say Macintosh 2 or anything, but we already know it's the Macintosh 2, so we don't need it to say that. The screen's a little darker than it should be. I'm guessing there's some kind of issue with either my recording equipment because it passes through several things, or the video card has issues. It could be one of many things. As you can see, this video card, because the one I went with was bad, this one has 256 color because it actually has the upgraded video RAM. And we're at 640 by 480. So I'll close this. And I mean, it's pretty much just like any normal Macintosh, so there's nothing really I can show you that's special. It's running the 7.5.5, which is actually, this comes from a Macintosh LC2 unit that I have, the hard drive in it. And these are the games, and we'll launch Simcity 2000 just to show you what it looks like. And when it gets open here, which it takes a little while because, you know, the system is not fast at 16 megahertz. But at least it's faster than trying to run Doom on this. Now that would be an exercise in futility. Alright, there we go. SimCity running. So that's this Macintosh 2. I would show you gameplay, but again, like I said, it's a little slow. Alright, with all of that out of the way, here's my story about the Macintosh 2. This story is well more modern than most of my stories, as it starts with the first time I got my hands on a Macintosh 2 in 2021. In fact, before then, really the only thing that inspired thoughts of classic Macintoshes were the old all-in-ones or like the LCs. In fact, the Macintosh that I show in this very video is the Macintosh this story is about. Somebody stored it outside for more than 15 years, and it was in really bad shape when I got it. I've done a lot to clean it up, but there's still some bad parts and definitely some stuff that needs work on it. So I found out when I was working on this Macintosh that it requires battery power to start the power supply, and otherwise the power supply won't start. In fact, most people think these are DOA because of that, and I even think that's the case for a recent Linus Tech Tips video they did, where they showed a Macintosh 2 and they're just like, oh, it won't start, the magic smoke left it. I think, honestly, like most people, they removed the batteries, but then it wouldn't power on, so they assumed maybe the power supply or something was bad, and maybe they even ordered another power supply and it still didn't work, so then they went, oh, the board's bad. But I have a special tool for starting up this Macintosh, and here it is right here. I call it my Macintosh jumper cables. So here are my thoughts on the Macintosh 2. At the time, this was an amazing change in Apple's design philosophy, and I would have loved to see it stick around. And it did for a while, but sadly, Apple's new systems aren't as upgradable, despite their green PR stating that they're for the environment. Well, one of the things for the environment is making your systems, you know, repairable, upgradable, so they don't get thrown away as often and become eWaste, which is a huge problem nowadays. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it. And if you did, feel free to like it. And if you aren't subscribed so already, feel free to do so. And if you'd like to get notifications of my new videos, click that bell button.